Hi everybody and welcome back on our lessons. In these lessons we will speak about Cartesian grid and how to use the code, the program, the PC to introduce the Cartesian grid with our students. This is very interesting. We will speak about the Cartesian grid. What is Cartesian grid? This is what we will start in our lesson. The Cartesian grid is help us to individuate a point in the space using two coordinates. The two coordinates are x and y. This is very important because all the movement in our life, in our world, is made with Cartesian grid. It's what we use every day to move in our life. Okay, about the Cartesian grid, it's not a lot to say, but it's important that students understand how the Cartesian grid help us and how the Cartesian grid work. This is important because we have introduced the Cartesian grid, we have said to our student what is Cartesian grid, but we have also to say them how to use, and we can start using Cartesian grid for the learning by doing. We can do something and then learn how the Cartesian grid works. And this is important. The first of all, we will introduce the Scratch. Scratch is a coding program. We can use this online or we can download it on our PC. Scratch is a blocks coding program made by MIT from Boston, and it's very interesting because we can program games or some games, or we can program a code, a movement, a story also on Scratch. In this video I tell you how to program a Cartesian grid, of course, and to also to move a robot or something, a person, an animal, or what we want in the Cartesian grid. For moving this, we will speak after, but we can start how to program in Scratch. On programming in Scratch, for introducing the Cartesian grid in Scratch, we can decide to use in two different ways. The first one is to active the grid on Scratch, and then we can put what we want on the stage and only active the Cartesian grid. The second one is to introduce a stage also with the Cartesian grid. This is interesting because there are a lot of Cartesian grid with a different square, and we can introduce the Cartesian grid in the same photos, in the same stage. Then we program like what we want, a person to move in this Cartesian grid. For moving in this Cartesian grid, there are different ways. The first one, we can ask to the sprite to move in the Cartesian grid. To ask it, we will program with go right, go left, and do, for example, 10 step, or turn right and turn left. And this is the first, it's easy to program. The second one, and is to introduce the Cartesian grid, we can ask to the sprite to move move 10 steps in X, or move 10 steps on Y. And this is interesting because the movement, it's not where the sprite look, but it's in the Cartesian. And also we can ask the third part is like you see here, is to move the sprite from x, y, 10, 10 to the x, y, I don't know, 100, 121. It's important to understand where is the zero of the coordinate. If you move the sprite on the stage, you can read under the stage the two coordinates, x and y. And then it's also interesting to know that when we move the sprite, also all the blocks with x and y change with the good coordination, and this is very interesting. The first we will ask to our student only to move with a command, then we will change to move with coordinates, and then we will ask for finish the third part of our exercise is to ask to move by coordinate and to draw, for example, a square or other geometrical form that we want. We can decide also to introduce not only mathematics part, but also the geometrical part, the geometrical theory. At the end of our lessons, we will close the lessons thinking about and speaking about our students, about the mathematical theory that we understand and that we need by doing, we learn by the doing, about also mathematics, Cartesian grid, but not only, also the step, the proportion, because if I want to move 10 steps, it's different to move 20 steps, and it's 2 times more, it's 2 times from the first. And this is interesting to discuss with our students about this. The second part is that we have introduced also geometry. Yes, playing, we have play, we have decide, we can decide to move in to draw a square. Also we can decide to use the command pen to draw with a pen on the stage or on our Cartesian grid. And it's interesting to discuss about geometrical shapes. And we can say to our student, it's easy to know also the theoretical part. Okay, a square, go straight, then turn left, how many degrees? Okay, 90 degrees. Then another time, then on the programming we can do only the first part and the turn left and do the multiplication by 4. And also this is mathematics, and we have introduced robotics, mathematics, and geometry. But it's interesting to understand like triangle, because triangle, it's different. It's not the internal angle, but it's the external angle that it's the rotation. And it's not 60 degrees like everybody know, but it's the external part of our angle, that it's 108 degrees less 60 degrees. It's 120 degrees. And this is, we can introduce other things, other shapes, of course, and it's very interesting to discuss with our students about this. Thank you.